Hi everyone. So what's brewing today? Welcome back to iMocha Skills Intelligence Podcast, where we deep dive into workforce transformation, talent strategies, and more of skill first thinking. Today we have an esteemed guest, Priya Medewar, head of organizational development at a prominent Japanese tech multinational company, bringing first-hand insight into how they are shaping and reshaping leadership development through a skill-first lens. In today's episode, we'll tackle one of the most pressing challenges faced by modern organizations, developing the next generation of leaders. With rapid technological disruption, market unpredictability, and evolving workforce expectation, building a future ready leadership pipeline has never been more complex or more critical. Uh, my first question to you is uh, what is the big picture with the skill first thinking you have in mind, or you are trying to do something in your organization in the last couple of years, or you plan to do it in the future? Anything around the skill first thinking? What are your thoughts?
So, Sujit, thanks for having me here. It's my pleasure, absolutely, to be a part of this podcast. I hope there will be some meaningful discussions ahead. I think organizations are shaping very differently, right? And leadership has not become a skill anymore. It's become a craft. And what do you mean by craft is it's gone beyond levels. It become more complex because the volatility or ambiguity in the market is very different. Today we have a demand for a product or a demand for any skill. In 6 months down the line, it's completely different. So learning agility, resilience, and I think strategic thinking are becoming a very key part of it, supporting by something called as collaboration, something called as innovative thinking. This is becoming very key for organizations. So what challenges organizations face are generally, organizations are not very sure whether the current skills are going to be relevant or what are the future skills. If they know also, they are very slow in adapting processes in HR or in OD, where they can rapidly build up skill assessments for their current and future roles, right? Assess their people, where their current position is, and it all predict if they would be able to develop those, have learning paths, curated paths for people to develop on those skills, etc., etc. I also feel that it becomes a little challenging to take everyone into the picture, right? Because ultimately it's cost benefit analysis, and also not everyone will fare in an organization to this pace, right? So, how do you identify your high potential talent? How do you ensure that, okay, these set are people who will be really agile? Okay, these are of people who we tag them as aspiring, they can influence, and they have a real potential to grow with the organization. So once we have this set of people, we make sure that we prepare them for a long journey, for taking newer challenges, building a good learning path for them, making sure HR is very agile in changing organizations' processes, and curating learning paths or career paths for these people to grow ahead. So this is a main challenge I think most of the organizations are facing.
So when you talk about learning paths or career path, so for identifying the potential leaders, right? One is uh, based on the skills, uh, HR identifying HR teams or the respective managers identifying a people based on their performance by looking at them is one way. And second thing is with the skill based analytics, right? A system identifying the right people based on the skills as the thing, rather than the anything else, rather than experience is needed, rather than educational background, it is needed, but rather than giving more importance to that, giving importance to skill. And they can be leadership skills, it can be hard skills, technical skills, or it can be soft skills. Based on that, identifying the leader for the succession roles, right, or any succession planning. What is your thoughts on it? Is like, what is a more better approach, doing it in a traditional way where you know someone and doing it, or doing it in a more technological way of a skill based organization? What do you think is beneficial?
So there are two types of organizations, Sujit. What I feel is someone who's very tech pro and someone who are covering up or catching up the speed of the tech. But what I've seen in my experience up till now, or also with this current organization, when we use a tech platform, your life becomes really easy. Your results are quick and outside, quick, and they're relatively also good. And if you go through a traditional way, also it takes a lot of time on execution, and it takes a lot of time, though the results are similar. So what happens is that because we are on the time crunch, right? We really don't have time right now that to run a intervention for 3 months, wait for reports to come out for a month, share with the people, make IDPs, plan for the next, and then you look out. So generally that happens. But if you use a right partner, and if you use the right tools, you get it implemented in a 2 weeks time, and your reports are everything out in a month's time, and that helps. The organization would have very limited resources in terms of competent people to handle this kind of jobs. There would be not everyone in the HR department who would be very competent to a role, because they would have their certain roles. So in that sense, choosing the right partner becomes very, very important, and having the right tech platform becomes very easy and very convenient where there is a large scale intervention. So currently we are handling a large scale intervention for 300 people, where we are mapping their skills. And when we are using a tech platform, it just happens like this on a click. Which makes our life very easy, and it brings a lot of agility for our department, to see and to roll out interventions and see the effectiveness of it. So that's my take on that.
And when we think about leadership development, how important you think is good job architecture for having a good job architecture and converting that job architecture into skill architecture? How important it is, and for transforming a job architecture into a skills architecture? Okay, what are the method like what are the steps and HR team should take?
Yeah. So you should be very clear on what kind of roles the organization have, and what kind of learning paths or career paths could be curated out of these roles. So, sometimes it happens that people can move across verticals depending on their potential and depending on the competency what they have. But it's not always that, a manufacturing or a quality R&D person can go into a sales or a marketing job, right? But there would be other verticals to explore. When we have this clarity in the organization, it is very engaging for employees, and the it helps to curb the attrition a lot. Also, intrapreneurship is, I love this word, and I feel that organizations can encash on this much. So you have certain kind of people. I feel 15 to 20% of your people are high potential in an organization, and once you have the skill architecture and your job architecture in place, it becomes very effective, or it helps us to make this career paths very what you say easy, fluid for people to go in through and move into in these dimensions. Now, moving people into these verticals or into the horizontal or vertical roles, it would be very essential for anybody to understand, does he have a right competency or not, or right skill set or not. So in our organization, we have a skill matrix which is very particular to the role. We have identified particular roles which people can grow into their career paths, and we have a very specific skill matrix for all these roles. And then we use tools to measure their gaps, and whether they see that whether he or she can move into the other roles if the gaps are met. All of these we do using the tech platform. We identify people on assessments, then we move them to career path module. We curate career paths for them, and we have IDP developed on those skill maps. Then there will be two skill matrices which people will be able to see: one for the current role, one for the aspired role, and to see how did they move across the skills when one they want to be in the same role, grow in the same vertical, or they want to move to the other vertical and make their career into their aspiring roles. So that's how we do
So,
with
so I
us,
like
with
I
our
like
organization.
I like two concepts what you said. One is entrepreneurship. That is pretty interesting. So people can easily, rather than only think about a vertical path of growth, we call it in our terminology diagonal path of growth, right? So somebody who is maybe into sales can get into HR, or somebody who's into HR can get into marketing. So you don't have to always think about only a vertical growth within your own vertical, but you can think about horizontal growth, and but into other verticals it's more of a diagonal growth, we call it. So we call it as a diagonal career path. So and any kind of entrepreneurship can really help over there. So that's an interesting concept. So one thing is, when you talk about this leadership development, what are the metrics you would like to measure to, let's say, a year 2025? You want to be confident that whatever the leadership, the initiatives we are taking for people development, for the leadership programs, we are on track with that. So to ensure that, what are the top three metrics you would like to measure, or you would like to suggest that we should measure to, so you know that you are on track towards success?
Yeah, I think we are all here for the business, right? We are all contributing to the business growth, and every HR department, every member, every department, I think, should be aligned to the strategic outcomes of the business. So our first important would be our customers satisfied, and that's very key because all our products are for our customers, right? How much is the revenue growth, and third is what is the profitability of the organization. So if we are aligning our initiatives to these matrices, it becomes a very successful intervention. We get a lot of support from the top, and it gets down drilled down very easily. So for any intervention, you should be very clear that how it is affecting the business outcome. Second, I feel also how the team is performing, right? And third, I feel that what is your engagement and your enablement ratio. So, engagement means how much people are interested, feeling challenged into the job. Enablement is how much the organization is supporting their growth and their work. So, if you use data and if you use your skill gap or tech partner, right, the employees would feel that, okay, the organization has given me a clear cut understanding about my skills and ability, right? And I need to work on this very clearly. So they feel more engaged and they feel more enabled. Also, with this, it is very important for the organizations to be very flexible in terms of mending or changing their HR current processes. Sometimes they would want to do a new org chart so that people can develop their skills. They can move differently into different verticals by doing some small changes in the org chart so that the high potential person gets you know a chance to develop onto the other skills. But so all said and done, primarily I feel that business outcomes, team performance, and employee engagement and enablement, these are three four outcomes we should measure.
Interesting. That's pretty interesting. So, some one follow-up question to that is, uh, what are the ways organization can encourage emerging leaders to take ownership of their skill growth and leadership journey? So, how they can be self-driven? How can they take ownership of their own growth within the organization rather than HR or anybody else pushing for it?
So I think if organization is very clear about the potential of the person, the ambition he has, right, and the kind of influence or initiative he can build in the organization, then it becomes very easy for aligning these leaders into the leadership journey. Right. It's never that organization wants to grow them. It's always both of them want to grow together. Right. So also everyone will be not a part of this journey. Right. We need to select who are the right people to be a part of the journey and create the right forums, right assessment tools, right partners to coach them, mentor them, or we have internal leaders, mentors who can go along with them for journey, and have a lot of flexibility in giving them a lot of exposure to different skills. This is definitely very difficult to do, but if we do it, it's nothing. Nothing. It will be very beneficial for the organization.
And so again, when we talk about ways we can help emerging leaders to take ownership, right? And as you said, it's not for everyone, the leadership development. It is for some identified people, right? Which, and again, it has to be aligned with the business goal of the organization. Today, people talk a lot about personalization, and that is a buzzword, right? So how can the skill insights or skill gaps help create leadership development journeys which are very personalized? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we are doing a lot of work, and I really feel that if you're not putting in efforts into this intervention, and if you're not doing it personalized, or hyper personalization is the word which is right now being used right up in front, but it is really important. It will not give you an outcome without doing that. So what we do currently is, while we develop our leaders, we do create role success profile for each profiles, and we do take a lot of information from the candidates on, what's his aspiration, what's his challenging assignments if we handled, so that we understand what kind of competencies is displayed in the past, right? We take them through a lot of assessments, both at the psychometric level, and more other tools which we use tech platforms to do that. Sometimes we use face to face. We create a lot of reports, and we curate an individual development plan which is only specific to that skill gap which is required for the success profile, or that role for which we want to grow the person. So it requires a lot of input, and it requires a lot of attention from the HR department and from the leaders to take this through and make it successful. And then there are other tools and various methods for developing an individual further. So it is a journey. It's a journey, and it requires a lot of investment.
And when you talk about like having the right tech platforms to deliver the things, identify the gaps, coaching. So, what do you think is the right mix or more weightage to be given when it comes to leadership development? Should it be more on experiential learning, coaching, digital learning for developing the future leaders? So, uh, any thoughts on that?
See, I think until and unless your intervention is in the right context for the organization development, you can use anything, right? The setting up the right context is very important. I would have see I My organizations have many business verticals. Some are at a primitive stage, some are very matured at a business product cycle level, some are in the center, right? So every business need would be different, and the people who are going through this journey would have a completely different need. Right. So one tool will not be able to help many others, but you'll have to see that what the cycle is, what the need of the organization is, which way you want to develop them, and you have to choose the right tool to develop them.
Can you share, and I would say, and this is the most important question for me. So, can you share any example or experience without like sharing the names, where the skill data helped you unlock an individual for a leadership role who was not identified as a person on the radar, right? And I would be really happy if that is more like any person, male or female, you were able to unlock with just the skill data.
Yeah.
Some example
So
you.
what happens? The organizations are very large. We have 21 verticals, HODs, and then there are different business verticals in it, including business sales, support functions. And we never know that there is a person who is in a procurement. Maybe he's very good for sales, right? So these are completely two different verticals. But what happens is that we really don't know that whether this person would be able to. Organizations hesitate to take risk that what if the person fails, right? So what we do is we identify a lot of talent high potential employees at large from all the verticals, and we ensure that these people go through a lot of assessments, and we get an assessment report. And once we saw that, oh, this guy in procurement, and of course there was a case study which was mentioned in sales, and his inputs were the best, right? So we definitely gave him an opportunity in sales, and in one of the highest performing BU, and he's managing it very well. I think he's highly engaged. He was the best person in the organization. So what we did was, is that he was at the junior level, but we took him to a mid-level assessment. We said, let's challenge him a little bit more, and he fared the best. So sometimes, sometimes your gut also helps you to say that, okay, let's give him more fairer chance, or let's accelerate the performance of this person. Because if these high potential people move out of the organization, it is a huge loss to the organization. So that's something which is very, very, I have experienced, and sometimes you work with your experience also, and you take the right steps in this direction.
Great. And now, maybe the one last question, trending topic. What do you think is an impact of AI today on developing future leaders?
Yes, I think AI supports a lot in everything. It makes your decision making very quick, right? And mostly organizations or leaders struggle in decision making. They want, mostly people want to be on a safer side. And so the balance between risk taking and to be on the safer side is somewhere, it's always in the mind of leaders. How do I, how do I take it? But once you use AI, and AI tools and data analytics, it becomes very easy, and decision making becomes quite quicker. With this, when decision making is quicker, I think leaders would have a lot of time. And when they have a lot of time, they could focus on people development, they could focus on business development, and they could also focus on their self development, which helps the organization a lot. It has a huge impact on organization's growth and customer satisfaction both.
Great. Priya, thanks a lot for all your answers. I guess when you talk about leadership and or like organizational development and creating future leaders, as you give the example of somebody from procurement to sales role from a junior level to a mid level and then a mid to senior, I guess it comes with a lot of experience, and people who have that experience like you, they can really help organization to use the skill data and the technologies like AI today to make that transformation happen. So whatever real examples or inputs you shared with us today would be really helpful for other leaders in the organization or the HR teams to learn from it and help them into transform into a skill based organizational development approach.
Yeah, I think AI also brings in a lot of cohesiveness among teams. So today, if my one of my sales team is spread across smaller cities, also across India, we have 61 branches in India, right? And we have an head office where a lot of decision making happens on pricing or on schemes or something like that. And when we have an AI tool, it brings a lot of collaboration and one team feeling, and everyone thinks in the same direction because they are ready. The data is very ready, handy to them, and they could use it on the go, and they know why certain decisions are coming from central office or head office. So in that sense, communication gets easy. One team feeling less, decision making gets faster, less, you say, resistance, and more creativity and more pace for teams.
That's really good input for making AI. I guess AI is going to be a part of our life. It's already, and it will be more
Already.
part of our life, like the way we have internet today.
Yes.
Great. Priya, do you have any specific question for me to answer?
Yes, Jeet, absolutely my pleasure talking to you. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks. Great. Thanks a lot.